It's it's 10:01, so welcome to the Seneca County Board of Commissioner meeting. Today's Thursday, February 8th, it's 10 a.m. This is our regular board session, and we will open with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, prayer, anybody? Okay, I'll take it. Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we're so blessed to be elected officials, to live in Seneca County. Beautiful weather out there today, and we ask that you look over this meeting as we deliberate and talk and make decisions in the best interest of all our citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Here.
Commissioner Schuff?
Here.
Commissioner Frankert?
Here. So at this time, I'll accept the motion to approve the digital audio recording of our prior meeting on February 1st, 2024.
So move. Second.
Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Frankert?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Thank you. First item on the agenda, we have a bid opening. Barb passes out the sign-in sheet. I'll turn it over to you, Barb. I see the engineers here if we have any
Yep.
questions or raise any
Oh,
questions.
that's gonna be Mike Ditto.
Okay. Good morning, Mike. Hang tight, okay?
Yes, sir, Commissioner, you got it.
Drink some coffee. We have a bid opening, and you're next.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, so this bid opening is for the 2024 LPA guardrail installation project. The engineer's estimate is $394,528.13. I have one bid. This is from Lake Erie Construction out of Norwalk, and their bid is $368,175.
Okay.
I have all of the documentation. Yep, that's all I've got.
So we'll turn that over to the engineer.
Yep.
Nice when it comes in under the estimate.
It does. But in this case, though, since it was a federal job, we're probably leaving about $10,000 on the table. But
So before you walk out, I just want to insert the discussion we had on the RPTO.
sure.
I just want to bring it up so everybody knows we're kind of working on it. So sat in on a meeting last Friday with Ottawa, Sandusky, Seneca County. The team of guys put the meeting together. All our engineers were in Columbus, so they all sent their number two person. But you guys were down in Columbus talking about this. But basically the proposal is that you'll see here in this map, the three counties would come together and form an RPTO. So we're just at the information stages. Engineer Zimmerman is going to talk to the engineers and kind of work it out, see if it's financially worth it to us, what the process might be, that kind of thing. So more to come on that. Is that enough said, or do you want to add anything?
No, I think, ODOT, along with many state agencies, are really pushing regionalization. It's always been a thing, but more and more trying to get projects that cross not only county lines, but cross state lines, try to get as regional as we can with every project. And because a lot of our dollars now from federal highway, from the state, even our local dollars are planned so many years in advance. You apply for a grant today and build a bridge 6 years later. Same thing with highways and infrastructure projects. That they really want to push the planning and the planning dollars so that ODOT and Federal Highway knows that their money is going to be used wisely. Putting counties together into these RTPOs, which are Rural Transportation Planning Organization. They are just planning organizations. But it does open us up to be able to get grant dollars for safety studies, for safety improvement projects, for probably projects that are involved with economic development, all planning dollars. Without being a part of one, those dollars are not available to us. And so if we, I'm not a big study guy. I don't like spending a lot of money on studies, but there are times when studies are necessary and they are helpful. And during those periods of times, why not let somebody else pay for it? So
this
that's
is
my 2 cents that I probably didn't need to.
No, that's good. No, I think we should get it out
It's
there.
just studies then on it, or kind of?
All planning. So
Okay.
RTPO is strictly a planning organization. So they will help develop plans so that we can then use those plans to get grant dollars and leverage those plans for long-term infrastructure planning for not only our county, but if we had a multi-county project between Seneca, Ottawa, and Sandusky County, then this organization could come through. Then work like our TID, for instance. Once we have a plan, work with our TID to actually apply for monies or bond, with the bonding authority of the TID, to actually develop projects that are more regional in nature instead of just being stuck within our borders.
And Aaron, this falls, the SEDS that we're working on, good job taking the lead on that. Similar, but this for economic development, this isn't the time, but you get the point. There's some white area, meaning we're not part of a bigger regional group. So Sandusky Seneca would come together. We're going down a path to form a SEDS. We're going down this path. So again, trying to position ourselves. The one thing they said at the conversation was if we would have been an RPTO during COVID, we would have received $250,000 to $400,000 from the federal government. We would just, you're an RTO, here's some money. So there's things like that. Now there is going to be a cost involved. County-wide, it looks like on a $300,000 total cost to do this. We would need 10%, $30,000, 10 per county. The rest of it would come from, I think, ODOT, but more to come on that. So then we would have to analyze the 10. Does the city of Tiffin pay a little bit? How do we break that down? We don't know any of that yet. Okay, and then we're going to see what the payback would be. That's why everybody know we're working on it, and at some point we're going to bring it back, maybe.
Yeah, we'll do our due diligence first.
We're doing our
Some other
due
RTPs, see if
diligence stage now.
see if it's even a thing.
Right.
Where I'm not in the habit of
I like
spending money
having
for
our
the sake of
engineer.
spending money. So
He figures out every reason not to do it, and then
Right, and that's good because we get all
if we
these
still
little
think we should do it, then it's probably a good thing.
yeah.
acronyms and you go to meetings and then nothing happens and you, right,
Yeah.
it's just kinda, so hopefully, and some of us could be.
Well, the
Yeah,
engineers-
about
the engineers are
consolidation,
talking now.
yeah, end up-
Absolutely.
right.
If it makes sense, you
Yeah.
do it. If it doesn't make sense,
This is pretty well
it's an
driven.
economic decision.
This is driven by the engineers, really. Because it's all infrastructure planning, that kind of
Right,
thing.
which is great.
So we're letting them work it out. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Good.
You
Anything else while
good
I'm here?
with
'Cause
the bid
I'm just gonna
opening? No?
grab my bids and take off.
We're gonna turn it over to Mr. Ditto
Thank you.
from High Bridge. Thanks, Engineer Zimmerman.
I'll put this all together. Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care, appreciate it.
So Mike Ditto is on to give us an update from High Bridge. Good morning.
Yes, sir. No problem. Thank you, Commissioner. Good to be with all of you this morning. Thanks so much for your time. I hope everyone is doing well. Kind of the big news of the day is what's happening and also not happening in the legislature right now. So as you probably saw from my email a couple of days ago, the Ohio House of Representatives has taken their first stab at the passage of their Strategic Initiatives Fund. So just to kind of recap really briefly for others that may be listening also, there are two separate pots of money that are going to be allocated by this legislature here in the next several months. There is the Strategic Initiatives Fund, which is a one-time funding stream of $700 million total statewide that will be allocated all across the state. Those are general revenue fund dollars that were taken out of the state budget last year and used for these one-time major strategic initiatives. Then there's separately the state capital budget. State capital budget is pretty common. We've worked with you on those projects over the last few years, and that actually is going to be about a total of approximately $150 to $160 million. So the total for these two pots of money should be somewhere between $850 and $860 million across the state. Now, the capital budget, as you know, is more restrictive. Those are bonded projects that have to be connected to they have a state nexus, and you have to work with state agencies to draw down some of those dollars. The $700 million that is going to be allocated from this one-time fund, it truly is a one-time fund. I do not expect that we will ever see this again. There's a little bit less restriction on those dollars. We don't know, because this is so new, this is such a new process, we don't know how it will all pan out, but they are not necessarily projects that have to be bonded. So we are sort of in phase one of a multi-phase process to identify projects and get things passed by the General Assembly. So this past week, just yesterday actually, the Ohio House of Representatives kind of surprised some folks. They brought up, without any public testimony and without any real hearings on the bill, they brought up their portion, which they've divvied up into $350 million that they've allocated for projects across the state. They amended that into an existing bill sitting in committee, in the House Finance Committee, and then passed it by the full House by a vote of 75 to 19. So everybody, including the members themselves, got to see what was in the budget in this amendment very late Tuesday night, and then they passed it the next day. In total, the House funded 318 projects across the state, some of them worth millions of dollars, others and most of them much smaller. They do have projects for every county, but we are truly in the very, very beginning phase of this because, as you know from our work with you on this, the Ohio Senate is not going to take up this bill at all, or anything dealing with the other $350 million until May or June at the earliest. So there's no real agreement at all, I would say at this point, between the House and the Senate. They will get there. But there are some projects contained within this bill that directly benefit Seneca County. And I think it's going to be incumbent upon all of us, now that we know what the House did, to try and go forward to get either more money for these projects or other money that's out there, and there's a lot of it, to fund other projects in the county. So again, there was a little bit of surprise on this because not even the members themselves knew what was in the bill until Tuesday night. I'm told from a few House members there were sort of limited conversations about it, and it just sort of appeared and got done. So I do think, based on some comments that the Senate President and the Senate leadership made yesterday, that they were not too happy with how the House process went, and I think that they will have potentially a more deliberative process, more public hearings, more public input, and I'm certain that we'll be working very closely with both Senator Bill Reineke and Representative Gary Click. So what was passed by the House yesterday, there are three specific projects for funding. There was $190,000 for the Seneca County Museum interior revitalization, $150,000 for the emergency medical services renovation in Bettsville, and $93,742 for the Attica Venice Township Joint Cemetery Mausoleum. Now, I know these are not all of your priorities and the things that you've worked on, certainly, and probably not the dollar amounts that you were looking for, but I think that's why we've got several other pots of money to be looking at, and I think we'll have an opportunity to have our voices heard in the Senate and through the House processes here now and in the future. Happy to answer any questions on the mouthful I've just given you on that project.
Okay, so Mike, this is for the capital budget?
This is actually separate from the capital budget. This is the strategic funds budget. Capital budget has an ag. This is the big one. Yeah.
Okay, so our math, just so work with me on this a minute. So historically, 150 million in the capital budget.
Correct.
Brought back to Seneca County about $1 million, plus or minus. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to the strategic fund, it's 700 million, I think that's 5 times. It's 5
That's
times
right.
the amount. So in my mind, I'm thinking we're gonna get $4 or $5 million out of this strategic fund if you just went on racials, okay?
Sure,
So,
of
you know,
course.
what you just said is 400,000.
Correct.
So that seems almost like a capital budget amount of money to me, not a,
I-
so we have some work to do with Senator Reineke and others.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I'll tell you, if you look at years past, capital budgets and any type of funding stream where money is going all across the state, there's almost never anybody that votes no on this bill because it's funding projects, it's using tax dollars wisely to fund economic development programs and other projects that local communities want. So this is the first time in my recollection that I have seen any no votes, and there were actually 19 no votes in the House yesterday. If you watch the House session, it was really kind of surprising. The sponsor of the original bill, which is House Bill 2, which doesn't have anything to do with these projects, and then the finance chair and the ranking minority member spoke up to speak as to why any of these projects were good or bad, and then nobody else was recognized. A dozen people stood up on the floor to talk, and they voted on the bill, and no one else was allowed to speak. So it was kind of a surprising process. It's not my process to control, obviously, but I do think there were a lot of communities that felt like they did not get enough, and several got a lot more than others. There's one project in there for $20 million in Cuyahoga County alone. So I agree with you. I think that we will have a more robust opportunity to be involved in the Senate process. Senator Reineke and Representative Click, I know, want to be a part of that because this is just the first stage, but there's a lot of money out there, and I think we can work on this pretty aggressively over the next few months.
Okay, so this is my last comment to you. So, and we have Aaron here, president of TSEP. We don't call it TSEP anymore, right?
Yeah, this is.
TSEP, yeah, TSEP, okay, got it. So he's part of all these discussions, but we, the commissioners, are using FEDC, right? We have our list. What do you suggest we do next? So Renee has our list, you have our list. Do we just, since you know what it is, we just let you do your thing and then you tell us, you know, if we get down and we have to prioritize what's left, that's when I think we would get involved.
Right.
Otherwise, I think our list speaks for itself, and our list was fairly conservative. I mean, we didn't ask for craziness. We tried to stay within that mentality of $4 or $5 million for everybody in the county. Okay, which would have been, you know, when you're dealing with 700 million, 88 counties, that doesn't seem too out of line.
Right. I agree.
You know, right now we're at 400. So we'll, I guess, from my perspective, we'll just let you take it from here. At some point, we'll have to talk to Senator Reineke about it, probably, right?
I agree, and it may be worth having an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
Certainly, which I'm happy to come up for, and to talk through this, because I agree with you. I think the allocation is misguided the way it is for Seneca County right now. And it is, and here's the sort of this is the other political complicating factor of the whole thing, is that typically for these budgets, the House and the Senate are on the same timeline. And that is not the case here. The Senate does not even have their application deadline until 2 months from now. So they are not even, I mean, they're in the middle of soliciting projects, whereas the House has already voted on what they want to fund. They've only allocated $350 million, which leaves another $350 million available. Well, the interesting part about this is, if you listen to the Speaker of the House and the Senate President talk about it, the Speaker has said publicly, these are the House's priorities. We do not believe the Senate will tinker with or do anything with the $350 million that we've already allocated. The Senate doesn't agree with that. The Senate has said, we never had that agreement, and the president put out a memo yesterday saying, we've never even discussed this. You don't get to tell us what to do, we don't get to tell you what to do. So we can not only tinker with the $350 million that you've already passed, but we can also do stuff with the $350 million that's still available. So what I think will happen is, I honestly think this is just going to be a little bit of a complicated process, but Senator Reineke and Representative Click will be key players in this all the way until it's done.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from anybody on the board?
So I guess, Mike, a little bit of a backstop. So just because they request this, and then if they can't, you know, who ultimately, I mean, the Senate, I assume, has more power than the House, is that right? Or how does that work out to see who would be the winners and losers on this, if you look at it like that? Or, you know?
That's a great question. Hard to tell at this point, but I would say that I think the Senate is in a little bit stronger position just because they haven't even closed their deadline yet. Their deadline for applications for these projects is not for another 60 days. So now they have a little bit of an advantage to see what the House is doing and what they've done, so they can make adjustments accordingly. So in that sense, yes, I do think the Senate has a distinct advantage. But in the end, both of them are going to have to come together before anything gets done. And they're going to have to figure it out at some point, and it's presumably going to happen by June. One of the things that a colleague of mine told me this morning is that there are some House members that are doing press conferences today talking about the different projects that are quote-unquote coming to their county. That money is not realized yet. The Senate hasn't taken a single bit of action on this, and even the House is talking about doing the strategic fund in one bill, which they did. They haven't touched the capital budget yet, and the Senate is talking about doing the two of them together. So there really is a very, very big difference between the two chambers. That doesn't mean it won't get resolved, but I think it does provide us an opportunity to really work closely, particularly with Senator Reineke, since the ball is kind of in their court now.
Is it safe to say that the two of them are not communicating too well together right now?
The two chambers? Yeah, that's right. At I did not talk to them directly, but from reading press reports, it appears that the last time any conversation happened between the two chambers about this strategic fund was back in July. And everybody was caught off guard when they announced that they would be doing it, that the House would be doing, quote unquote, their half this week. And interestingly enough, this is where things get more complicated too. The Ohio Senate is meeting on February 28th. That is their last session day until after the March primary. The House's last session day was yesterday. They are not meeting again until April. So there is no session, very little committee in the House, and true in the Senate, they have one session left and little committees. So really, it's just kind of a stalemate. That does give us an opportunity, though, with this downtime that's a little unexpected.
Yeah.
We can do our due diligence to try and get some of these funding things done. And what I may suggest, I'm going to do a little powwow with my team at Highbridge. Given the low allocations for the county, I think now that we know what the House has done, I think it may be strategically important for us to consider asking for more in the Senate, because if they back us down, that may even us out. That's a conversation we can have, and glad to do it.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so I think you saying that, I guess that was kind of what we were trying to get to. You tell us when you feel it's time to come up, get with Barb, and she'll put it on the calendar. And
Right.
you know, Senator Reineke's up here too, and he's available a lot. You know, he's around, so you know he may just join us.
That'd be great.
That's very possible. You can get with him. You know.
Absolutely. And I don't know if this works, and I'll certainly check with Barb. I'm going to be actually in the area near Tiffin next Wednesday in the morning. It doesn't have to be that time at all. I know that's pretty soon. But if any of you would like to meet on anything while I'm around in the morning, I have to be in Toledo for a lunch meeting at 11, but certainly would be glad to meet while I'm nearby.
All right, the Senate's in session next week.
They're not in session again until the 28th.
Okay, so, should we get a hold of Senator Reineke, or do you want to? Try to see.
I'm happy to do that.
Why don't you
Sure,
do
I'm
that
happy
and
to
see
do
if he
that.
can
I'll
pop
coordinate with you,
in?
Barb.
Okay.
And then we'll have Renee come over.
Okay, great. I'll see what we can do. That sounds great.
He likes early meetings too.
Right, same, yeah.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And nothing would please me more than to spend Valentine's Day with everyone in the county, so I look forward to it.
I think that'll be our last week, because we're not gonna meet till June 1st then, or maybe till Fair Week. We're out till Fair Week.
There you
How's
go.
this stuff happen? I don't get it. Okay.
Well, I'm glad you
Well,
called.
thank you. Yeah, good
Glad you called,
conversation,
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah, appreciate the heads up on that, because Barb, she had the county checkbook out ready to write checks, so I guess Barb, you gotta put it back in the
Yeah,
drawer
put it back in the drawer for now.
Put it back in the drawer, lock it up until June. That's correct.
You know, the positive is, the three projects that made the cut are needed, and
Yeah, yeah.
and we were grateful, right? Well, you know, it's money that we didn't have, so that's a positive out of this, but, yeah, we have some work to do.
I think so, and we're prepared to do that. And just so you know, too, while all the counties in the state were allocated with some dollars, there are some individual House districts, I'm told, this is not an independent analysis by me, so I want to verify this, but I'm told that there are some House districts that did not receive a single dollar. So I think when you don't have the public input and you don't have the testimony like this in an organized process, it is hard to get to the heart of that until it's already done. I think you'll see something of a much different process in the Senate, and we look forward to working with all of you to try to get this done.
Okay, is that it? Anything else?
Appreciate you, Mike.
Barb, you good?
No problem. Thank
Are
you.
are we paying you every month, Mike?
Yes, and I'm very grateful. Thank you so
Yeah, I'm
much.
looking at Barb and make sure we're current and everything.
Get
Okay.
that checkbook out, Barb. That's
All right, thank you.
We appreciate working with all of you on this. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Got it, yep.
So Aaron, should I ask Karina to run the meeting since she does everything, or are you going to take it from here?
Take it if that's
Okay. Let's see. We're excited to have your team here, TSEP, for your update, and it's awesome. Welcome. Thanks. We have your handout in front of us.
perfect. I'm used to this television working, and I
Hopefully
look up,
technology-
so I'm gonna have to look over here now and really goof myself up, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess,
Still one of the little lights here.
I'm
that
good.
Val?
You can.
Oh, I can
Mr.
see it just
Brightwell
fine.
see
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I can see
You
it.
see it a little better?
Yeah.
We used to. At least we have to maybe turn that
Probably
one.
turn that one a
Adam,
little
can you
bit.
turn that one just a little
Yeah.
bit to the,
Yeah.
push towards the wall? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's good, we're good. That'll help. Now we're happy with everybody.
Clicker works.
oh, the clicker works, okay, all right.
Thanks, Aaron.
You're
All right,
welcome,
buddy.
so I'll hold this and
Took
try
us
to.
5 days to figure out how to run a clicker, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, so I'm gonna, yeah, I mean, I was taught by the State House, so I'm gonna need some time to operate that.
That's
No,
way back.
No,
Yeah.
but I guess, I'm gonna start off a little bit different comments after kind of hearing all that, and just start off by thanking you all, the folks at the city, the folks at Fostoria and our townships, because we actually work together, we talk to one another locally, and we get things done, and it's just incredible, I guess, hearing that story that we've got even a single party in charge in Columbus, and we can't get along, that there's almost a civil war going on amongst themselves, and
Crazy.
I know in my role, I'm approaching almost 2 years with the organization now. And the number one thing that I can tell you that businesses look at when they're either doing expansion projects or when they're looking to relocate and potentially come here or anywhere, the number one focus is not property taxes, it's not income taxes, it is literally risk mitigation. And what's going on in Columbus right now certainly is high risk. Ohio, every year, is one of the top 2 or 3 states in this country when it comes to site selection rankings, when it comes to major economic development projects. That's how we landed Intel. That's how a lot of these big projects have happened. What's going on right now in Columbus is embarrassing, and it's creating risk for investment. So while we sit here and we kind of take almost a laugh of why can't they get along, why aren't they speaking together. The bigger picture is if this goes on for too long in Columbus, it will begin to impact investment in the future here in the state of Ohio. So I can't again say how important it is, and thank you all for working together, working with Tiffin, working with Fostoria, our townships. In fact, you actually talk to one another, get along. So that's kind of my segue into starting off. That's not how I
It
planned.
wasn't always that way, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't always that way, and I think if you look at past history and investment, it shows that here locally. So, so that's kind of the unwritten segue that I didn't plan to start with, but thank you, Mike Ditto and others, for allowing me to go on a soapbox for a little bit. We capped off a very successful year last year. We celebrated 40 years as an organization. We were formed on August 9th of 1983. So last year we held out in rural Seneca County at the Front Nine our 40-year anniversary party. We had great attendance. I know all of you commissioners were there. Thank you for attending. But it really was a great year for our organization. And you'll hear a lot of the specifics at our annual meeting this year. This is always the struggle that we have with our early in the year update. Our annual meeting's coming up. We don't want to share tons of information because we want to surprise folks with a lot of announcements. But one thing that I will share, we were computing the data, and I'm not going to give you all the numbers from last year, but in the last 10 years, so from 2004 through last year, 2014 through last year, the last 10 years, there has been roughly $830 million of new investment in Seneca County, and over 3,400 jobs that have been created here in Seneca County. That's not things that were created by TISA. We do not create jobs. We help facilitate it, create the correct environment. So it's been a heck of a run on the last 10 years, and we think it's going to continue because of what we're seeing right now. One thing that you typically don't do in an economic development office is we renovated our own building while we're in throughout the year. So I'm not going to touch on this. You all showed up to our open house. You've had meetings there. Just some pictures for the public, for folks that haven't been in. So we purchased a building downtown several years ago, during COVID actually, and moved into the second floor of it with the hopes to renovate the first floor. Unfortunately, when the cost came in, we had about $300,000 that we thought we could spend-ish, and it turned out that the renovation was going to cost about $750,000. So we had to get really creative. We've condoed the building to where we will own the first floor. Second and third floors are owned by others now. That allowed us to free up a lot of capital and get this project completed. We came in within $5,000 of budget on the project, so we were thrilled with it. Thank you to folks like Klaus Construction, Klaus Electric. There were a lot of people that came together to help make this project possible. And now we have our money where our mouth is. As you know, and you'll hear from Donna in a bit, downtown development is one of our pillars of our organization. And Donna does a great job with that. Our office is now located literally in the middle, in the heart of downtown Tiffin, right across from the Justice Center on the first floor, completely handicap accessible. And we've helped save a historic building that was unfortunately not in the greatest of shape. There were a lot of structural issues. I always joke that we go into the basement, and when you look at all of the new wood and concrete pillars that had to be poured, I still to this day have no idea how the building was standing before we did all of that work, but I'm of course not an engineer. But really turned out great. It's something that we are extremely proud of, we're going to take care of, and hopefully that will be our home for the next 40 plus years in the middle of Tiffin, which is in the middle of Seneca County. And I think Bryce at the Chamber made the comment that this was one of the biggest, if not biggest, ribbon cuttings that he's had as far as folks showing up. So what are some of our key initiatives? Not going to cover all these, don't worry, I'm not going to stand here, I'm just going to pull a few out and talk about it. I know Commissioner Paradiso, you're aware because you've attended SEDS meetings, that is ongoing. Nearly complete. We have the public comment period out right now. We sent out a press release about it. Our counterparts in Sandusky County, Beth Hannum, sent out a press release. We need public feedback right now. The study is nearly completed. But now we need to hear from the public. We've had business leaders, we've had government leaders, nonprofit leaders, but we want to hear now from the general public, because is there something we missed? Is there something we overlooked? Did we emphasize something too much? That document will be our governing document for economic development for both Seneca and Sandusky counties for the next 5, if not 10 years. There are potential grant dollars that we can apply for with that. And from that, we talk about collaboration, and it's great to hear. It was a perfect meeting for us to be at today, because outside of that SEDS, there's a larger conversation ongoing that was started late last year, and that was with myself, with the city of Sandusky, the city of Norwalk and Huron County, and Ottawa County. And that is with us economic development professionals. We constantly feel in this part of the state that we're overlooked. You have the big C's, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. And then Toledo is kind of the anchor of Northwest Ohio. And this whole region, kind of from the lake on southward, is very frequently overlooked because we don't have I-75. While the turnpike goes through here, it's not quite the same thing as having an I-75. So we're overlooked constantly. So we're starting initial talks to potentially take our SEDs, try to blend them together, and if nothing else, start facilitating additional collaboration, working together on projects, using one another for recruitment, because we can talk about the Seneca County workforce, that there's a little over 26,000, this and that. The difference is when you start to pull data from a few counties, which Toledo, if you look at the Toledo metro area and what they consider the metro area, it really does encompass what could be Seneca, Sandusky, and some of the other counties, and we need to start pulling that data when we're competing for jobs and not look at Fremont necessarily as our competitor, but as our friend and ally when we're recruiting folks. The same thing with Fostoria and other. So we've had several meetings now. There's been great discussion amongst collaboration. We're going to move forward with that and start inviting some of the other leaders like Renee Smith in Fostoria, Beth Hannum in Sandusky County, Greg Moon down in Wyandotte County, because we really do see this corridor as being a future area of cooperation of economic development arms working together and no longer competing with one another for a lot of these projects. And a lot of that discussion spawned from the SED. So I always say, we do studies. A lot of times you don't ever complete everything in a study. You're lucky if you complete a quarter of what's in the study. But if nothing else, that SEDS already has inspired some very good synergy and energy amongst us with cooperative agreements moving forward with other county economic development groups.
This group, is this just?
No, in fact, I sent out the email this morning for our follow-up meeting, and I literally put in that email, Commissioner, I said, our economic development lake-ish group, parentheses, we need to come up with a better catchy name.
yeah.
And the team will tell you I'm terrible at coming up with catchy names.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Agree, Aaron?
I am not a marketer. I am terrible at coming up with catchy names, but I at least know what I'm doing. It's just the marketing side is not me. So hopefully someone else in this group has a marketing background and can come up. We tossed out at one point Firelands Coalition because of the Firelands area up by the lake. So we've talked Black Swamp. There's all sorts of things that were thrown around. We haven't settled on anything, but you will be hearing more about that in the future.
What's the league that Columbian's in right now? I know it used to be Northern Ohio League or the NOL. What is, that incorporates Norwalk, Sandusky?
SBC.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it SBC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting to go-
But there's,
So,
it's-
yeah. We'll work together and come up with something. So that continues to be great. Some of the other things up there I've mentioned, so industrial park growth, you'll see the picture at the top. That is land we've identified for the expansion of existing industrial park. So I'm not going to touch a whole lot on it because it's City of Tiffin directly, but it also impacts the entire county. We're down to our last 18 acres of developable land for industrial development. So this land here is nearly 100 acres. It's on both sides of Mall Road, immediately adjacent to Eagle Rock Industrial Park. We are working with the family that owns the land. They are very willing and and they're working with us to get part of the land annexed to the city. Part of it will also remain out in the county. But we see this as the next really frontier for economic growth and development in Tiffin and Seneca County. We need the land desperately. If we don't have it, it's going to be very difficult to do anything outside of just retention projects here in the county. Because you have to have sites that are ready to go with access to sewer, water, power. These sites are great because there is significant excess capacity of water, sewer, electric, and gas all in this area. So there are no inhibitors to that. The only thing I wish it had was rail access.
How many acres was it again?
Just under 100 between the two parcels, yes. There's a large parcel, which you see at the top there, north of Mall Road. I'm just going to throw out rough numbers. That's about 80. The southern portion's about 20. That's not exact, but that's essentially the breakdown on how it goes. Northern portion will be coming before you soon for annexation. It's immediately adjacent to city land. The southern portion, the plan is that it will remain out because if it was to be annexed, it would unfortunately create an island. And while that may be legally done, there's a lot of extra steps that'd be taken, so we're not going to worry about that now because we want to move forward. Again, I go back to my comments originally I wasn't planning to make about limiting risk, and the developers I talked to, while they love Seneca County, it's a great place, they view it as more limited risk developing in city limits when it comes to manufacturing growth than out of the city limits. It's just, it is what it is. That's one box that we can check, that is not risk on their part when it's brought into the city. You'll hear about some of the other topics up there, so I'm not going to go into them. We've been having these educational opportunities. I would like to invite all of you to the next one. While it may not be directly impactful to the county as a whole, I feel like it could help you to have the information. So on the 22nd of February at our office, Regional Growth Partnerships and Jobs Ohio will be coming to the office, and they are going to give a broad overview of state and federal grants that are available for businesses in Seneca County. So I think it could be helpful, because I know there are times that business folks approach you all about what grant opportunities are out there, and thankfully you pass them on to us, but it could be a good opportunity to learn about it. They're going to talk about inclusion grants, workforce grants, training grants, all sorts of things that are out there, because we want to make sure that our businesses in Seneca County are aware of all of these grant opportunities. There are several of them that you can apply for that, while it's not tons of money, they're literally a page long. My office can assist them if they have questions with it. I know Carol, she can talk about it when she's up here. Her office also assists with the paperwork on training dollars. We make it as easy as possible for these businesses to obtain grants. So the 22nd of February, 1 p.m. in our office. If you're available, you are welcome. Just to update you on projects, things are active right now. We've had a very busy start to the year. I can tell you already, in the first month of the year, we have had almost as many projects that qualify for our rankings with site selection as we did all of last year. January started off gangbusters, and we're not seeing a slowdown. So as of this morning, I pulled this data. We had this updated last week. We're actually up to 63 active projects now, and the potential investment is 1.376 billion. And I know that that number looks massive. It is, and that's because we have the one project that we've talked to you about before, Project Goose. That project is looking at just over $1 billion investment. We're one of 3 sites they've identified. We had a call yesterday. We are still in the running. We are viewed as a very competitive site. There is one other site they're looking at in the state of Ohio, and then another one in a different state. It is located outside of Tiffin, outside of Fostoria. So we are working in cooperation with Renee Smith on the project. Unfortunately, the call yesterday, I asked the question, do we have a timeline? They do not have a timeline. They are still running all of their research, but they have continuously said how impressed they've been with Renee and I both at how quickly we get information to them. That it seems like whenever they ask, we got information before the sun sets that day, and they've spoken very highly of both Renee and our office here. So we feel good about it. We can't guarantee we're going to land it, but we know we're one of 3 sites being looked at, and it would be, without a doubt, as you see with that kind of a number, the largest investment. And I feel like it is good to point out that it will only come with 150 to 200 jobs. I know right now workforce is an issue. We hear it every visit that we make that folks can't hire enough employees. I know when we first started talking about it and we didn't list specific job numbers, people were a little panicked, thinking, is this going to be some facility bringing in 500 or 1,000 jobs to where I'm going to lose all of my workforce? It is a smaller employment facility in the energy sector. That's really all I can say. And I know we've joked about it before. It's not a solar farm, it's not a wind farm, anything like that. Obviously, you would not have 150 to 200 jobs created with that type of a situation. But Adam and I are on an NDA, so we can't tell you much more about it, as is Renee, but we are very excited about it and all the positive things we keep hearing. So we're now up to 6 active housing projects, as another lead came in Monday of this week that we're working on with site selection currently. Project Theron is a project that we have been working with for about 6 months now. They are looking to put several facilities in the state of Ohio. They have just announced their first facility will be going in near the Columbus area, which I'm kind of excited for, because I didn't want to be the guinea pig. This is actually an international company that is just getting into the American market. They've got sites in Canada. They have sites all over Europe. I wasn't quite all that excited to be the first test case, so they're going to put a facility in Columbus. They're still very interested in our area. Potential over $100 million investment, though, if it would come here. They're still very active, but they're going to get their facility up and running in Columbus first. Project Goose, I touched on. That is the $1 billion plus investment outside of Fostoria between our 2 communities. And then Project Dublin, that is a project that we're working on out at the industrial park. It is a significant expansion project, doubling the size of one of those facilities out there, of which we've already submitted multiple leads for. So things are busy. Our total jobs created, actually, as of this morning, is just up over 700 now when I looked at that data. So it's busy, but it's exciting to be a part of all the exciting things that are going on. These are some other projects, just to give you a quick flavor. I'm not going to go through them all because I don't want to put you to sleep. Project Guitar is one of the few that we have that is code name that we can talk about what it is. That is our Gibson Hotel project downtown. They are one investor away from moving forward with the project, so if they could land one more investor, they prefer to be local. They will pull the trigger on that project. However, I feel confident they're still going to start construction on it later this year because their historic tax credits that they've gotten from the state run out at the end of this year. If they have not begun the project, they will either have to reapply with the risk of losing a few $1 million of state historic tax credits, or they're going to have to pull the trigger without the final investor. So to help facilitate the project, we did, to my knowledge, which was the first time it's been ever done, we brought in a banker day. And every bank that was a member of our organization that wanted to show up heard a presentation from them, and then they set up meetings following it to kind of negotiate and to, play the game to get financing for the project. So
It'd
it
be
worked
great to
out.
have a hotel downtown.
It worked out really well. I'm very confident that it is going to go forward with or without this last investor. They just prefer to get someone on board locally. There are several other projects up there. We've got Wordsmith, Surface. Those are some pretty significant expansion projects of existing manufacturers. Surface is $2.3 million expansion with some jobs added. Wordsmith is a $4.6 million expansion with jobs added. Hopeful that those announcements will come out here either Q1 or Q2 of this year. And then, like I said, I'm not going to hit everything. Smaller scale project to show you we haven't forgotten about smaller projects as well. Project Rocket is something that is getting close to what I feel is an agreement. That would be for a drive-through coffee shop that is looking to come here. It is a chain across the region. I can't tell you who, but it is a well-known chain that I think would be well-received that is looking at a location, of course, not in downtown Tiffin, one of the projects that I'm managing. So I probably spit a lot of information at you. But
That's good stuff.
just seriously, thank you though for your partnership, everything that you do. You're all so good to work with. We appreciate it. And thank you for not being like Columbus, my goodness. So, thank you for the collaboration. So with that, I am going to turn things over to Karina Eit, who is our operations manager. She's going to talk to you a little bit about some Port Authority items and other things with our organization. So Karina, it's all you.
Thank you. Yep, you know who I am. Karina Eit, the operations manager. I'm gonna go to the next slide. So I've just been working on streamlining our operations. Things were a little messy, so we've been working to get a more integrated system. We're implementing QuickBooks Online, getting rid of some of our subscriptions. I've also been working with RGP and working to reach out to several of our larger manufacturers and businesses in the county to set up BRNE visits for Adam and Aaron, as well as those RGP members. And then the website, last year we adopted a new website, and our interns, Noah Paris and Tim Bucky, went out and they took pictures of our businesses and did some write-ups. So I'm working to put those on our website with our web designer right now. And then so I'm also the secretary and the point of contact for the Sandusky County, Seneca County, City of Tiffin Port Authority. So this slide here just kind of shows you the car counts and then the money that we earned on last year's trackage. And those meetings are open to the public if you want to attend. Next week's meeting is at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And then, speaking of the Port Authority, they do have a major project that's going to span over the next few years. As you can tell from this picture, the tracks are very old and outdated and falling apart. So this project, when it's all said and done, will be a little over $6 million to the entire trackage, spanning it all the way over to Woodville and here. And that is going to be pretty expensive. So we're working to get federal funding through the Ohio Rail Development Commission and the NOW. We're working to help with that via the CRISI. So that's all I have.
Nice.
And now it's Adam's turn.
Let's see here. All right, so we'll jump right in. This is
Excuse me, have you always supported the Port Authority?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Commissioner, we actually have been the administrative agents and
Yeah.
spent the day with Rich Vogt.
I
So
forgot
to clarify
about
the
this.
slide up there that said 173,000, that is money the Port Authority got, not TSEP. So we get a small stipend each year for basically managing their finances for them, answering their calls, taking care of business, because they don't have day-to-day employees. So that is basically what that is. We get a very small portion of that.
But having a port authority down in South Seneca County is a huge, potentially a huge asset that we have on the shelf for future.
It is, because we can issue tax exempt bonds
Yeah.
for projects. They have to be the right fit. So it can't necessarily help you because you're already tax exempt in the county, but there are business programs, if they work with us, where we could then
We
save
were
them
in a
tax
broadband
dollars.
discussion,
Mhm.
and we were going down the legal path, and they said, do you have a port authority? And then they, yeah, well, the port authority can do this and that, and we didn't do it, but,
Yeah.
um,
It gets a
I
little
just-
dicey.
I just want to
because
reference that
then
because it is
we
a-
as the Port Authority would have to own the
Yeah.
infrastructure for a certain period of
but
years.
the fact we have a
Yes.
port authority that we
It's something
can-
that can be tapped into,
that we
especially.
could tap into, thank
Yeah.
you. That's what I was
Project
getting
Goose
at.
has talked to us some about the potential of that, but yeah, can't say a whole lot more on it.
That's
But yeah,
fair.
folks are interested.
I
It
just
is
had
a-
that thought,
Yeah.
Rena, that I should have known, but you confirmed it, but thank you, yeah, that's all good. Thanks, Adam, sorry.
No problem.
Question.
So I'll jump right in with my current project portfolio. I have 24 active projects representing over $47 million in potential investment. 3 of those are housing projects, and housing tends to be a higher dollar value amount. So there are a few projects of those 24 active that are really making up the bulk of the 47 million. 9 of my 24 active projects are rural development projects. These are projects that are taking place outside of city limits and are focused entirely on facilities located there. And then 5 of my projects are entrepreneurial projects. So these are opening new businesses, these are, getting ready to sell a business through the clearinghouse. Anything like that is going to be counted as an entrepreneurial project. So we'll jump in with a little bit of rural development. Recent announcements, you probably saw the press release on Price Manufacturing. That's 2,400 square feet of additional space that Brandon added out at his facility near Bloomville. He also added 2 machines, and those are the pictures that you're seeing on the side here. Those are the 2 new machines. I'm trying to remember. One, I believe, is a computer-controlled lathe, and I'm not remembering what the second machine is. But he also added an overhead crane in his facility, so he's now able to move larger pieces around than he would have before. Really impressive growth out there, and we're really looking forward to seeing what Brandon is able to do here in the near future. Project Torrent, this is another rural project. This is an environmental evaluation. We completed a phase 1 through the Targeted Brownfield Assessment Program back in September. We are currently working to coordinate the phase 2 assessment, which will involve boring samples and kind of figuring out what exactly sort of contaminants are there in the soil. This is work that is being driven entirely by the business demands of this business. They're looking to improve their facility and trying to figure out what exactly the state of the soil is there and how it may affect their business operations moving forward. So you may recognize this picture, or at least one of you may, that is a silo out at Commissioner Frankert's place. These are my active rural projects. As you can see, there are five very high value projects here. The rest are these smaller businesses. So it's a really significant investment that we're seeing here in the rural county. Remember, that's only 9 projects of my active 24, and it represents probably about 3/4 of that total at $38 million. So let's look at the rural business trends. Planned investments right now are focused primarily on the long-term returns that a business owner is going to see from improving their facility or expanding their facility. part of that is these behind-the-meter on-site solar installations that we're seeing a couple of our larger manufacturers and companies looking at. These are not the, massive solar facilities that I think a lot of us have been concerned about in the past. These are rooftop units, unused land that are going to be used to improve productivity at a current existing facility, lower that energy bill, and make it easier for them to make further capital investments into the future. Now, one main pain point that we have recently noted is that villages, none of our villages are actually covered by the Seneca County Building Department. One of our business owners out around Bloomville noticed this, ran into this problem, and they have to go through the state now for their occupancy
Didn't
permit.
they join us, Adam? You're
Yeah.
here.
No.
Did you join us? Did Safe Built? Did the villages join Safe Built? No, so you're still at the
I talked to
state.
Commissioner Frank about that last week.
Yeah, we had a discussion, but it didn't happen, so I follow you.
Yeah.
You just. I was
And this,
surprised.
it's not something that, immediately comes to mind. You'd think, oh, these are
So it's
villages within
another, there's something else you have to do, right? You have to
Yeah,
go
so
there.
each village is going to have to, and I'm gonna begin having those conversations here shortly with
Okay.
our
They can do
villages.
a resolution and we can accept them.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
and so at
the,
this point, none of the villages are in.
None of them.
Fostoria is in, all in.
yes, so you're gonna, going forward, as we kind of work through this process, that same process that you went through with Fostoria in terms of readings on them establishing a sub-department of your building
I guess I didn't
department.
know that. I forgot about it.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
same
the
thing,
process
handle
that
it
we're gonna have to
off.
go through. Yeah.
Who does that? Is that something
Safe
you're gonna
Built-
do?
Safe Built can
Safe Built
take
will do
care of
that.
all.
They're
Yeah.
making their run. That
They-
makes sense.
They were the ones that got Fostoria and got all the information necessary for
Thanks for
Fostoria to
that.
pass the resolution to
Okay.
get us in.
Yeah, and it's not a problem that you're gonna immediately know. You think you'd assume that these
Be nice. to-
villages are gonna come with
Yeah,
us, but
yeah.
because they're incorporated in of themselves, and because they weren't already sub-departments of Richland
Right.
County,
Makes sense.
they didn't automatically come over. So this is just that little
Makes sense.
ironing out the kinks, and I think that's really gonna help future development in the villages, make it a lot easier for them to, get those boxes checked and get everything up and running.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Entrepreneurship, we are finally wrapping up our strategic plan. There was an illness with one of the members at GL Cap, and that did kind of slow the process down. The final draft was submitted out for review to committee members, but we received all their feedback last Friday, February 2nd. So that's now going back to GL Cap to then kind of put the polish on it, the finishing touches, and then we're hoping to have that approved here shortly. I put completed by June 2024. That's a very pessimistic deadline. It really just depends on getting that committee in and ready to vote.
Clearinghouse has done a lot of good things.
Yeah.
Did anybody purchase the old Tiffin Brewery, do we know?
They haven't come through us. I have not heard of anyone purchasing it. I know that they went out to auction, what, 2-3 weeks ago? Something
January
like that?
10th. Yeah, and I did see a post that they had made stating that it didn't sell and got pulled mid-auction, so
Wasn't, oh, gotcha, okay, I was just curious.
and I will say that clearinghouse, though, we have now other businesses in other counties coming to us wanting to use it. So it's kind of awkward because it's supposed to be for Seneca County businesses, but yet we of course want to help, and what if maybe one of them sells and locates here, but it's difficult because we certainly don't want to anger our fellow economic development professionals. So we're trying to navigate those waters and how we handle those inquiries now. 'Cause we had a big one come through just yesterday, and it's like, you don't want to step on a fellow economic development professional's toes, but if we can help the business sell and potentially bring it here.
Well, I mean, they called you, it wasn't like you're out fishing for them.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, we don't, with the clearinghouse, we don't really fish for projects. A lot of the word, businesses come to us, oftentimes kind of recommended by their financial advisor. Their financial advisor knows about this program, they understand that the business owner is looking to retire maybe, and then they send them our way.
It's a good tool to have in your box.
Yeah, and this beginning of the year period is really our busiest time. I'm finalizing a listing for one and hope to have that up here soon. And it is now becoming a model for other counties. Crawford County launched theirs at the beginning of the year.
Awesome.
So community development, we are finishing up the ongoing Buster process at the Ralph's parking lot. As a reminder, we do handle the community development just within the city limits of Tiffin. We finished a sinkhole repair there through CT Consultants back in December. And we received a final Buster letter, 2 weeks ago now, saying that yes, remediation is going to be needed. That's likely going to involve the removal and backfill of some dirty dirt with clean dirt. Yeah, I know it.
I like that.
It's a fun way. It is kind of fun to say.
Did you just get that news?
Yeah.
Because we were in the land bank, and we brought up, and at that minute, everybody felt nothing was needed.
Yeah. So
So were you-
it was.
Get over
That
Renee.
hit
Yeah.
a day or two after the land.
Yeah,
Yeah.
were you, you were here.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had this conversation.
Yeah,
we weren't expecting it.
We
We
were
were-
told that 75-80% sure you're gonna get a clean bill of health letter. Well,
Oh, I see.
it's
Yeah.
getting.
So now
Didn't come
we're
through.
Renee for the brownfield?
Yeah, so
yes,
we're-
now we'll go to the round 2 to try to clean up the dirty.
Maybe. We're CT Consultants who
Yeah, they work with-
won that public bid, and they've been working with Renee as well.
Okay.
They're
So
checking
hopefully
to
that can
see.
get cleaned up, but.
That's the goal.
We may be coming back for a second, through the second round of funding through the Brownfield remediation program.
Perfect.
But there may be enough money left in the first round to complete the remediation. They're checking up on that.
The good news is
No.
you can get it,
Yes.
hopefully a grant will clean it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aaron, didn't we start this process when we first got on council? I mean, it's been going on for 15, 16 years.
Yeah, we,
08 maybe?
Tore this-
Oversee
yeah.
that, Adam? Is
tore
that
the
stuff
building
you
down
do?
back when we were on council,
Yeah.
like 2008,
Projects,
9,
they
something
clean
like
up.
that.
It's been a process.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I see,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'm following you, this is good.
Yeah, so we do that both for general economic development purposes,
Yeah.
like with Project Torrent,
Okay.
out in the rural area, rural bits of the county, but we also, it's a very major focus because it's typically community development.
I see.
So we are very focused on brownfields within Tiffin. One thing that is not on this slide, and it is my last slide, is Dream Big Tiffin. We have prioritized those projects through the Tiffin Community Development Committee and hope to have a report out here soon that will list those out and get them all ready for the rounds of funding that we have coming up here over the next few years. But that is the last that I have. So I'll now hand it off to Carol
Hey,
to
nice job.
talk about.
Thank you.
Morning. First, I want to talk a bit about apprenticeships. And I guess for anybody who doesn't realize, I'm not a member of TSEP. I actually work for Job and Family Services, but because economic development is closely tied to workforce development, I'm kind of the adopted member of their team, actually working at their office today, in one of their offices. So I sometimes get people confused where they ask if I changed jobs. No, I have not. I still work for Kathy, but work closely with this team. So apprenticeships, those are still going well. We're part of the Greater Ohio Workforce Board, that they're the sponsor, which helps employers because they take all the administrative duties for the employers. So we had one that just finished in the past year, got a certificate of completion of apprenticeship. We enrolled 4 new ones last year, and just last week I submitted paperwork for the certificates for 2 additional apprentices to get their certificate of completion. Manufacturing Showcase was held on October 6th. That was our 8th year, but our first year at Sentinel. Went really well at Sentinel. We divided the kids into different rooms, seemed to flow better. The kids paid more attention to their areas and weren't as concerned about what was going on across the room. But again, and we had 18 different employers there, about 650 freshmen and 9 schools. This picture here is a Mayorwood. They're doing a measuring activity with kids, showing them the importance of accurate measurements. So this, let's see if I can get this to play. No, it doesn't look like it's going to play. So we have virtual reality headsets now. Those actually came to us, the Greater Ohio Workforce Board approached the state, got the funding. We didn't pay anything for these, and we have 5 headsets. So these can go into different career exploration. We definitely will use them in the schools. But one of the things is we can actually use them for employers for training. So an employer can do, for example, in manufacturing, and some of those lockout and tagout, safety data sheets, welding, for construction, situational awareness and construction drawings, electrical equipment, robot safety. Those are all different trainings that can be completed at an employer's. They would just need to contact me. I can bring out the headset, show them how to use them. really a great tool, I think, for employers. Definitely, I'm excited about the career exploration, but me personally, I'm more excited about the ability to use those to help train employees at the local places. If you want to see them, come out, contact me, we can let you try them out. They're a lot of fun. I was trying it, I tried the broadband one. They were it was a tornado situation, they were bringing in parts of the tower. I stood there long enough to get the one section on and then got out of it because they wanted me to climb higher and do another section. Couldn't do it. I really thought I was on this tower looking down, could not do it.
I have a.
Scared of virtual heights?
Oh yeah, I'm scared. I'm surprised I even tried it.
I have
It
a
was
side
that bad.
story. When I was up in Toledo in the fabrication business, we had a welding grant. We had this welder that was there 35 years. He was the best welder in the company. All the complicated welds, and we brought something like this in a simulator, and he failed it. It was just the way he was trained and the way he did it. He could not adapt to this thing. So it's a cute little story, but I think these are awesome. I've seen videos on these. They're free, right?
I can send you the link to the video that I had
Yeah,
in the
this is-
presentation, just so you can kind of see what some of the different simulations are.
It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I tried one too with, had a big drill and drilling under the road to put in some conduit. I kept hitting the water line. Yeah. So-
Carol, I think
That's
next
awesome.
video, next presentation, you ought to bring them up here and we'll.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting the equipment that we can cast, so if somebody's using them, we can watch on screen
Oh, we
what that
can-
person's
oh,
doing
yeah.
as they do it.
John, we wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah,
We have our way, yeah.
yeah, we can,
Let's see how Frankfurt does on a combine.
yeah, definitely contact me if you want to try them. They are a lot of fun. I'm excited to use them.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't drive the combine anyhow. It just drives itself.
Yeah, those do not anymore.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we're having a little fun.
No, that's
Got a break.
perfectly fine.
Thank you.
Job orders last year, to see some numbers, almost 400 job orders for employers. A lot of those represented multiple openings. First-time customers, 29 customers who had never used OMJ services before contacted me last year. Some of the reimbursements we made, I don't have included there. Tech Cred, GeoCap has a grant through Ohio Manufacturers Association where they're doing some training. So that'll be in the annual report, but with Tech Cred and the others, there's a huge amount of training going on in the county and a lot of credentials being awarded. So it's fantastic to see that people are investing in their employers, doing the upskilling. And anytime I can make a referral, if incumbent worker is the best option for the employer, great. If Tech Cred is going to get it all paid for them, where I can pay 50%, I'm going to refer them somewhere else. I want to make sure that the employer gets the training they need and gets as much of it paid for as they can so that they can invest in more training. And that's all I had. Any questions for me?
Great job.
Okay,
Good report.
Donna?
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, right? Our downtown Tiffin revitalization efforts are just still on fire and continuing to grow, and all attributed to us being a Main Street community, which is part of a national program. Heritage Ohio is our host for that. And I just came back yesterday. I was in Worcester for 2 days with our quarterly revitalization training with Heritage Ohio, and what a great opportunity for me as a downtown manager to do some professional development and also meet with the other downtown managers that are in the state of Ohio. And we really learn a lot and gain a lot of information. So I'm happy to do that. It's a 4-point approach for the Main Street program. The first one would be our business enhancement committee. We meet once a month. Each of the committee members has an insights call list that they contact all the businesses throughout the year, checking in with them, making sure that everything's running okay and smoothly, doing some business retention and also some growth there as well. Our business enhancement group also plans our trivia nights, and that is a way for people to come downtown Tiffin, play some trivia, and get used to coming to our area, finding a place to park, maybe finding a place to have some dinner, and it really enhances our community. We actually have a trivia night tonight at the Renaissance. Last month we had over 80 people that came,
It's just
so
amazing.
that event grew. I think when I started less than a year ago, maybe 50 people. I mean, we're up to 80 now, so it's just amazing the growth that has on our community. We also, this committee also plans our merchant meeting educational piece. So our merchant meetings are once a month, and what they do is the merchants get together, they hear all the activities that are coming into the town, and then this committee plans a little training for them. So anything from tax tips to social media. We're actually planning one with one of the attorneys here in town to learn about the Federal Corporation Transparency Act, which is something new that is going to be very important for all of our businesses to learn about. So that's one of the points, one of the four. The second is our design committee. Also, they meet once a month. The design committee is responsible for making downtown look beautiful. So any new additions that we have, our Christmas holiday lights were such a beautiful addition to our town. I already missed the luminance that it gave this season. So we're really proud about that. There was over $20,000 of donated money put into that, over 82,000 new holiday lights. We also started something with the design committee. We always had our cleanups every other month, but we decided to bring a competitive component to it called the Litter League. And each team would report back with their trash bags and we would weigh them. So whichever team brought in the most weight of bags would win an award, usually some chamber cash or something like that. So
Was anybody throwing any bricks in there or anything?
emptying out the city trash can. And then also our facade enhancement program is just still so successful. It has just been tried and true that this program really helps with the aesthetics of our downtown, and not only that, but just preserving our buildings, because the enhancement grant also includes your roof. So between the roof and the foundation, everything in between can survive. So this program is still very, very successful. We had over 12 projects last year, and total since the program in 2014, it's been almost $3 million of total investment, which really shows a lot of support in our community.
Donna, if I could just interrupt you quick. So ours is considered the best one of these in the state. They had Donna and I last year do a seminar along with Dan Brickner from the city for other Main Street managers and mayors, folks that attended it, talking about it, because we're considered the best one of these programs in the state because of all the investment that's happened downtown. You know, the critical mass of all the buildings being downtown is what gets you there. Unfortunately, if you try to do this scattered around other areas, you don't get the critical mass and the return on investment. But because of this downtown, the fact that, you know, we've gotten over $3 for every one that's been put in returned back is just incredible, that the impact it's had on that historic district downtown. So.
I remember when you started this. Was this founded because of Main Street, or was this kind of your idea as the mayor?
So it popped. I have no idea where, it popped into my head one day, how can we do this? But because I'm not a historic preservation expert, I said, I went to Amy Reinhardt, the downtown manager at the time, and said, I have this idea, I don't know how to make it work, help. And she essentially did, she essentially did most of the writing. I will not take any credit for doing the writing. She came up with 90% of how the program works.
But the city put the seed money in.
Yep. So the seed idea came from my head, the money came from the city, but Amy Reinhardt is the one that actually wrote the program and figured out how to make it work.
Yeah.
It's one of the best things the city of Tiffin's done to revitalize the downtown's facade program, no question.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah. But that critical mass of downtown and the buildings together is what truly gets this done.
Yeah. Thanks, Aaron. Thank you. Third point is our marketing committee. They're responsible for generating all of our fun events that a lot of you attend. Our third Thursdays, our Chris Kringle Mark, movie night, and we also have a couple window decorating contests that we added this year as well. They meet monthly. Also, we just had our meeting this morning, so we're planning all of our events for 2024, adding some new ones along the way. So next Thursday is a February 3rd Thursday. It will be the Taste of Downtown Tiffin 2.0, and it will be in the Chandelier Room. And it happened organically. We had our Taste of Downtown Tiffin normally in August. It rained, big surprise. So we quickly pivoted and moved that inside the Chandelier Room. While our committee was in there, we thought, you know, this would be something fun. Why not do this in the wintertime when it's cold outside and have the same event but indoors? So we're excited about that next Thursday. So come on down to the Chandelier Room next Thursday. We also have a huge presence in WTTF, WBVI. I'll be on the radio tomorrow morning talking about our Taste of Downtown Tiffin. Continue to write press releases for the community, and our social media has just improved so much. One fun thing that I started last Friday is what's called Fun Fact Friday. And what we're doing is gathering headshots from all of our downtown merchants and then one fun or funny fact about them. Each week, I'll post four pictures, but only one fun fact. So the public gets to guess who the fact matches to. If you guess correctly,
It's very engaging.
It's very engaging. We had almost 600 engagements just immediately in that one day, which we normally don't get on our post. People read them and then they pass on, but to actually engage in them. So we'll do that contest through March, and then the winner will receive a Downtown Tiffin gift basket. So
Was that your idea?
I actually borrowed it.
Okay, well,
Being honest.
I like it. I like it.
But I did modify it, so it's good to share those ideas with our other downtown. Well, and that's the great thing. Yesterday, when I was in Worcester, one of the managers came up to me and she said, "Donna, I borrowed that idea about having the binders for the merchants downtown with all the resources." So we share a lot of ideas with each other, which is very, very helpful. Our last point is our downtown development. This is our organizational group. We are in the midst of planning our St. Patty's Day 5K, which will be coming up here in March on the 16th. We also are responsible for the downtown banners. That's a huge fundraiser for us. Our downtown summit, which is going to be in September again this year. This year Aaron and I went to the State Heritage Ohio Conference, and we were awarded for our Chris Kringle Mark from 2022. So it was a great honor to receive that award for a committee project. We're really proud about that, and encourages us to keep going and keep moving. And we have a wonderful organizational committee, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. But on top of that, we have those 4 points, those 4 committees. None of that would be possible without our community volunteers. So they are considered, all of our committee members are volunteers, and then just the general community as well, coming out, serving at Third Thursdays, our litter, trash pickup, cleanup, Chris Kringle Mark. So we had over 1,100 volunteers that helped us out this year. So really, really proud of them. We have a great community.
Yeah, it was hard last year committee-wise for me because we have a lot of EMS and Thursday morning, we have a meeting next Thursday. But I can't believe the work that the committee puts out. This is a big deal, down to the Main Street and the requirements and the dedication and the work. It's almost like a full-time job when you're in. We have great people doing that. You're doing a great job. So, yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Very good. Anything else from TSEP?
No, sir, but if there's any questions, we're happy to answer.
Any questions?
Summarized it very well, so yeah, thank you for the time and dedication.
Learned a few things today, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Just one thing, just with the taxi service building that had the fire, is there any updates on that, or how do you see that
Yeah, so-
1 year from now?
Building's going to be torn down,
Okay.
because it's too much of a loss. However, the reason it's taking a while is because it's still with escrow and insurance. So what happens when there's a fire like that, your insurance money goes into an escrow account that's then held with the city until all of the legal rigmarole's done, and then they will use that escrow funds to tear it down. What's left over is then released, and once the site's been fully cleaned up. And at that time, there are private folks who are interested in the site. However, I believe the city also has interest potentially in acquiring the site because of its close proximity to its river wall for access when that needs repaired. So basically, the city, of course, will have first crack at it because of that. If they pass, we already have multiple private sector folks who have expressed interest in it as well as purchasing it for future development. So
But it's owned by
Makes
a
sense.
private owner?
Oh, yeah, it's still
Yeah,
owned
so
by
it's
the
up to
private
them,
owner.
right?
Yep, and that individual has already found a new home for his business.
Yeah.
So all good. He's going to continue to operate. He found another site that actually is not nearly as landlocked. It will probably work much better for him in the long run.
Awesome.
Great update.
Thank
You
you.
guys can sneak out. if
Thank
want
you.
to.
Okay, yep. Thank you.
I mean, get back to, like I say, your whole team's here, you know. We would love a picture if you guys don't mind, come on up. Kayla, get a stretch break here.
Where do you guys want us to go? Back here?
Yeah, maybe stand here if that's, whatever, is that good?
Have a good day, guys. Yep. Adam, see you. Yep.
But send me quick here, and then I remember.
We had to stretch, everybody. All right. Not bad.
Yeah. All right, yeah.
There you go.
Let's just say we can lay Adam up here.
One between two rows.
I can do like,
Lay it on the side.
One between two rows.
look like Jason Alexander.
All right, everybody look here and smile. Okay, hang on a second, smile again. Perfect.
It's easy to smile when you're.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Beautiful, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good job. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it.
Where's my good cook?
Oh, that sounds good right now. doesn't it?
Where's that?
Good job, keep it up. Good job.
Thank you. Okay. See if we can move right along now. You good, Barb? Okay,
Let's roll.
so commissioner reports. Commissioner Schuff.
Yeah, thank you. So Monday, Commissioner Frankert and I, we were at the Budget Commission meeting, also the Board of Revisions. Also on Monday, we had the Wind Waste Solutions expansion meeting over in Fostoria at Stacy's Place. To say it was well attended would be an understatement. All three commissioners were present at that. Got to hear testimony and stuff from the citizens, and it was all I could say, but I'll let you guys kind of say that for your reports. We also had a meeting this week with Brewer Garrett, kind of finalizing, getting our vision down, and so we're communicating with them as far as our priority list on our buildings and how we're gonna tackle those as far as heating, cooling, energy savings, those sort of things. So we're pinning that down, which is good. All three of us were also in attendance too. We went through the Bettsville Future EMS building, did a little walkthrough with Mayor Scott Harris. I think it's gonna be a good fit over there. It's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna save taxpayer dollars, and structure's there. We're just gonna put a little lipstick on it, I
We're
guess
in
you
the
could say.
capital budget.
Well, that's,
We
yeah.
have money in the capital budget for it, so that,
I'm
so
also-
far, today we do.
Yeah. Also attended a Board of Elections meeting here this week, went down there as they were going through some of their processes here, and there were some citizens that were questioning the machines, so got to hear some responses on that. Was there basically observing, just getting an education. Also this week, all three of us were in attendance for an OSS solid waste meeting that was in Fremont, and then today, later at 1:30, I believe, we have our EMS Station 2 review. So we're rolling stuff. EMS stations, it's getting there, and out there outside of Bloomville. Second one we're talking about getting up, and the third one up in Bettsville. I mean, we're moving, so a lot going on. That's the end of my report. Yeah.
Very good. So, last Friday, spent the morning with third graders over in Clyde, talking
I
about
saw
career days
that,
and stuff
yeah.
on that. So that was nice, kind of, I could talk to my level and stuff on that. But, some of the takeaways, it's funny that you ask about, how big is the county budget? You get $1,000 to $10,000, and when you start talking, $20 million and they started asking well, how many Lamborghinis do you have? And that's what I had to tell them. I said, you got to work hard. You got to get into media relations. The only way you get Lamborghinis and stuff on that. That's all. Because I said, being a poor elected official, you'll never be able to get that. So but no, that's a great time. I tell you, kids were responsive and very good. Enjoyed that.
It's awesome.
Day of that, and as Tyler alluded to, he's at Budget Commission and Board of Revision, and then Wind Waste, the EPA meeting for their expansion Monday night. They had 400 chairs set. They was all full, and there's probably another 50 or so standing around that event, and so a lot of concerns from both sides. Were brought up, so we'll kind of see what happens, and there's still time to submit testimony to that if up to February 19th, and I think Sherry will be putting that in our press release, where they can send comments and stuff on that. At OSS meeting yesterday, all leaders were there, and then tonight have the Kiwanis, the celebrity cooking show, so we'll be participating in that.
Should
So I
bring
think
something in for us to sample.
Well, I should, right. I mean, it's a
We
secret.
have to go there and buy it.
You gotta go there and
It's a
buy it, right? It's a
fundraiser.
fundraiser,
So
so
you have to
yeah.
go buy it.
Go buy it,
Okay.
so, right, don't wanna, give the recipe ahead of time, so, right, so. No, look forward to that, so, I guess it's been a great week. and,
Leftovers you can bring tomorrow.
All right, that'll work, yeah, you bet, yes, I have my team work on that, so, right, so it's a good family effort, so.
So Kayla, when you read an article, someone told me that when you read the newspaper, you write the article so a third grader can read it? Who put third?
That's, I think it's
Is it like fifth grade or something?
sixth grade,
Sixth
maybe.
grade.
You have to so everybody can comprehend.
Because I wrote a talk one time, I had somebody read it, and they put it in the computer, and they came back and they said, I said, well, how was it? How is it? And they said, well, it's at the level of a fifth grader. I'm like, just don't put any real big words in there for me, but they said, but that would work for the newspaper, something like that. But you try to.
Yeah, I can't overcomplicate it. You have to explain a lot of jargon, so people,
Yeah.
especially with government and with schools, there's a lot of abbreviations and.
So maybe that's why the normal person reads the paper and doesn't get frustrated.
Yeah, especially, you have to take the events year round, take the quotes, and then, summarize the information, break it down, make it more readable for everybody. And then obviously there's the other aspects of asking questions and things like that, but that's the basis of if you go to a meeting and
Yeah.
kind of
See
summarize
more.
what happened.
So there you go, third grader.
Grade level, yeah, it's right there, yeah, you bet, that's why they.
Thought of that, I have no clue why, but. So in addition to everything here that was said, was on WTTF this morning. We are working a little bit, John brought this up a long time ago about, I believe they're gonna start construction on what's the official name of that? Common ground, the addition to the church by the courthouse. Common ground.
Community
kitchen.
Yeah.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Community kitchen, I believe they're gonna break ground like the 19th or something.
They're gonna close the lot down and get.
They're gonna close the lot.
And get
yeah,
started.
Get the
And get
fence
started,
up and
yes.
all that, so.
Right.
We're displacing some county employees, judges and magistrates and clerk of court, so we're in the process of analyzing all our parking lots. I do want to put a plug in for whoever idea it was, and we give John credit, at the RTA building that would block off those 4 spots. And then we worked with the commission, with the sheriff. I have gotten nothing but
Yep.
positive comments from Paul Harrison and Julie, treasurer, the auditor. I'll text them every 2-3 days, and they just love it. So it's been a nice flow. Our look is, hey, we represent the whole county. People want to come in, pay their taxes, talk to the auditor. We own the parking lot. Let's assure that they can get in and out on a safe basis. So if you want to comment on it, because I
Can't
think,
take credit for it, but
I think it's.
but it is working excellent.
I think we're all involved in this one,
Yeah.
everybody, but we'll do it next year.
Right.
I think it's
Well, we'll do it.
We'll do it in
it's
July.
fine.
We'll do it in
Yeah, that's
July.
nice, twice a year. Yeah,
Twice a
thank
year.
you.
We should do it actually more often.
Yeah, well, that'll be the next thing.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
talk about it, but,
Right.
yeah, I can't take credit for that.
So
I'm not sure who, but
I'll add that in there, and
We
it
got it.
goes with our parking. We're just talking parking around here, and we'll have to do something. And we're working on that, so that's enough for me, I guess. We'll go to you, Barb, County Administrator.
I don't have a whole lot.
Report.
I just got, I received an email from Mental Health and Recovery Services Board that they're going to be holding a 2024 Behavioral Health Summit in August.
In Fremont? That's where they held it last year.
This is actually at
Out
NCOESC.
here? Okay.
It'll be August the 26th from 9 to 2. And it's going to be for behavioral health providers, the commissioners, courts, law enforcement representatives, city officials, state legislators. That's who they're gonna invite to this, but, I will post this, so that, people know that,
Yeah.
and because they do such a great job with all of, that type of thing. And I kudos to Mircea, which he will be coming in at the end of the month
His
to,
report.
give his report as well. So, that's all I have.
Okay, any old business? Hearing none, new business. Back to you.
Okay. Supplemental appropriations I have from the general fund, a loan repayment in the amount of $50,000. This was just not included in the '24 budget. It was dismissed. I believe this is the payment that we make to NCOESC every year. Then I also have out of general fund advertising and printing for $1,000. This is for the advertising for the airport for the AWAS bid that we set time and place for last week. I have from the maintenance and repair fund, engineer's office, there for office equipment in the amount of $5,000. I'm not exactly sure what they're purchasing, but that's not commissioners, it's engineer's money. And then I have concealed handgun license fund for their salaries of $15,000, Medicare at $217.50, workers' comp for $412.50, and their OPERS for $2,100. It's apparently money that they did not appropriate for '24 or needs additional appropriation for '24. The federal fiscal year '23 STEP fund, they are returning money for their salary lines in the amount of $11,953.71. Returning $246.52 for Medicare, returning $267.53 for workers' comp, and returning $3,077.20 for their OPERS. This shouldn't have been budgeted in '24. It was included in the '24 budget. It just doesn't. So they are just removing it out of the budget for '24. Then for federal year '20, the COSAP fund. This is also a sheriff's special projects fund. I can't tell you what COSAP stands for right off the top of my head right now. But they need additional money in their Medicare, $1,145.50, workers' comp, $2,172.50, OPERS, $11,060, and then their salaries for $64,622.
So this is already appropriated.
They're asking for additional appropriations. This grant, I believe, got extended, so I didn't,
So it's one of them
so I think
reimbursable
it's a reimbursable as well, so.
I follow it. Yeah, can you find this, we can act on it, but let us know what that stands for. I forget.
Hang on one second, I can find it.
Would you? Yeah. Why? We have tons of acronyms.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
right.
I just like to know. I'm asking a question, Mr. Bradmore, because I don't know what that COSSAP fund is.
It's for the Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Substance Abuse Program.
Never would have guessed that one. Game show.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Trivia night.
Make a motion that we approve the new business and supplemental appropriations as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any other discussion? Good. Roll call?
Commissioner Frankert?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Okay, on to resolutions. We're going to accept the bid and enter into a lease with John Walter for the leasing of the county farm and main barn on a cash rent per acre basis. This was opened January 25th, and the amount will be $280 per acre. This is a 3-year contract.
Okay, so move.
Second?
Roll call?
Commissioner Frankert?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes.
Resolution approving the memorandum of understanding with the Ohio Department of Administrative Services on behalf of the Seneca County Board of Elections. This is for them to receive, it's for their acquisition of electronic poll books and any other necessary equipment. They will be reimbursed 15%.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Authorizing the 2024 sewer rate increase for US 224-23 and the New Riggle subdivisions of the Seneca County Sewer District. It looks like the increase for US 224-23 subdivision will be 20% annually and an 8.8% increase for the New Riggle subdivision.
So moved.
20% one time and then 8 something going
No,
forward.
this is, no, it
Which
looks
one
like
was
it's a
it?
20% and this is how the
Oh, that's
resolution
for the
reads.
23 one.
That's the
Yeah.
US 224-23 subdivision
sorry.
is a 20%
Yeah,
annual.
it's 2 subdivisions.
And
I
then,
got it.
the,
I'm
New
hearing
Riggle
this.
subdivision is
Is it-
8.8%. I believe that's only for 2024, but I'm not
We
certain
can,
of that.
every year it's.
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, the engineer explained it to us, so.
So move.
I'll second it. Any other discussion? These are, we have 5 sewer districts in the county. 3 of the 5, the engineer feels are solvent, basically. 2 of them need some additional money so that if you're part of that district, unfortunately, that's how it works, they get prorated back to the people that use that specific sewer system, and that's what this is all about. So that's why the discrepancy in the amount. Engineer Zimmerman feels that's what he needs for maintenance and just to keep the thing going. So
Yep.
we're good with it. So roll call?
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes. We're still working on New River, but we don't have that figured out yet.
We'll get there. A resolution rescinding resolution 2018-405, appointing regional planning director to the Transportation Improvement District.
So moved.
Second.
Yep, just brief discussion, that was on the agenda last week and
Correct,
tabled.
correct.
I wasn't here, I think we've got good understanding of that. And we are just, and by the way, we talked with regional planning, Scott, board president, and verified and clarified everything. So the commissioners will now have a seat, or we will, that's the next step.
That's the
right?
next, yeah.
But we always had a seat on the TID. We weren't allowed to have one because of legal reasons. That's been removed. We're just.
2018, and it's been
it's-
meeting since then. Yes.
Yeah, and so recently there was a ruling that we could have a seat, so we're just.
We had some research to do.
Putting that in. Regional planning does have an MOU to do the administration on the TID. That's been set up with engineer Zimmerman, et cetera. That stays in place. So we would just be.
Have a seat on board with 2
have-
mayors,
having a seat
engineer,
on board.
and auditor.
So I'm glad you clarified that because I was confused. So I think we're all clarified.
Just want to make sure that it was all clarified
I called
before.
regional planning, I called the engineer, I just want to make sure we knew what was going on.
Excuse me.
So, thank you. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes.
Next resolution is appointing a county commissioner to the Transportation District, Improvement District. I did not specify a commissioner, but this is appointing a commissioner, so we can put it on like our normal committees.
Rotate it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so,
You on the transportation committee?
I'll be there.
I'll do this one since he's already on.
You wanna do this
Yeah,
one?
I'll do this one,
Okay.
you do the transportation with regional
So,
planning.
I nominate, do we have to have a resolution or do we just put him on?
we can just put him on. I don't think there needs to be I mean, we can do a nomination.
Do you have any problem?
No.
He's on transportation committee, you're on the TED. It's a 1 year,
Yeah.
and then next year.
So then in January, when we do our restructuring,
Next year
we'll,
when we restructure, this will be a new
yep.
appointment that we will have. Okay, fair enough.
I need a first and a second on this resolution.
I'll make a motion that we put Commissioner Frankert on the TID for 2024.
I'll second President Paradiso.
Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Frankert,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Aye.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes,
You throw me off every time you do that.
That's okay, you gotta mix it up a little bit.
that was good. That was good.
Resolution awarding Brewer Garrett the Energy Conservation and Facility Improvement Project.
Motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, I think something of this magnitude requires a little discussion. Would you like to say anything regarding the search process or the appointment, our
Yeah, so
selection for Brewer
Yeah.
Garrett?
So, yeah, it's been kind of a long process. We've been at it for almost a year now. I'd
6
say.
months.
6 to 8 months, yeah.
Seems
So,
like
Seems like a year.
more
Yeah. Well, I mean,
to
the
me.
issue's been kind of, so, put out an RFP.
We put out
to-
first an RFQ
For qualifications.
for qualifications, and then we
that's-
couldn't determine from qualifications, so we thought we would just do an RFP, which is
I
a
had to go
proposal.
first
Right.
because she'll keep us.
Exactly. I know,
I was
I
picking
know.
on me,
So,
this way
right.
she could talk to you.
So, yeah,
Okay,
so-
keep going.
Yeah,
keep
so
going.
went through, interviewed, they took a deep dive in the buildings around the county. We have probably the two top, that, you know, some issues, just an age has happened, you know, is our youth center, the sheriff's department, and then looked at the other departments on it, and then come back with, you know, a scope of, you know, energy efficiencies to kind of get payback, and then also, you know, some of the chillers and, you know, HVAC stuff and all kinds of controls and stuff with that. So through the process, now that we've, you know, decided between Brewer Garrett and Wadsworth that we are proposed to, you know, move on with Brewer Garrett for our energy conservation facility, you know, improvement project.
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner
Thank you.
Frankert just said, this was not a quick decision. I think we've met with them probably half a dozen times each. We've walked through the jail, some of the different centers with them. It's something, I mean, we went page through page, questioning their contract. This has been a long process, but I think we did our due diligence, we did our homework. Our buildings are gonna be in far better shape than what they've ever been. And we're looking forward to working with them, but we don't like surprise bills, and I know Commissioner Paradiso said it a couple dozen times. We get these surprise bills for boilers and chillers and the roof and this and that. I mean, we're taking a deep dive in our buildings, and
John's happy.
they're gonna be in the best shape that they've been in a very long time, probably ever.
Yeah, I'll make a comment, and you have final comment, because you were part of the process, but I think so the public understands what we just went through. Well done. We have all these buildings, and Wadsworth was and still is, does a great job in helping service what we have. You know, we've called them on emergencies many times. They show up, they do a great job. So what we tried to do is look forward. Basically, what we said was, here are all our buildings. We would like this firm and this firm to present to us if they were their buildings, what would you do going forward to deal with all this deferred maintenance? So it's just the total package, right? The way they went about it, the cost, the long-term maintenance, all those kind of things, the payback that we're going to get by saving money. Both companies did a great job, but as these two have said, Brewer Garrett kind of independently from all three of us, four of us, but three of us stuck out. There was just something about them, and so that's who we're going to move forward with. We still will be selecting exactly what projects we're going to do, not do. There's kind of a little bit of a shopping list, but we like all our options, and we like the process that we went through. We put some good time in it, and so looking forward to going ahead with them. So your call.
I would just say that, I mean, they both put in the effort to, provide us with, so we could have an apples to apples comparison. It was, I mean, It was a toss-up, to me. They're, you know, they were both qualified, well qualified. They both provided the documentation that we needed. They both have the same idea of what needs to be done at the end of the day. Not really my decision to make, but, you know, you guys, you chose who you chose, and, you know.
I feel good about it.
Yeah, and John, just so, John's in the audience, maintenance, but, you know, Wadsworth was here when we had problems at RTA, the roof, I mean, they give great service. So you take all this into consideration, and, so, but I think, again, you know, here we are unanimously recommending this, that we move forward, so, that's where we're at, right?
Yep.
We'll continue to use who we have until we start separating things, right? So, thank you, just wanted the public to know that this is a huge decision and a big path forward, you know, for years to come with regards to facility management and upgrades, you know? Absolutely.
Well, and I will also say that I will provide Wadsworth, I will send an email to them to just let them know that we have not selected them. Haven't done that yet, but I'll get that to them this afternoon.
we'll see the
so that
guys
they,
and-
so that, you know, they are still aware that they're still gonna be called upon to do some of our, you know, when we need them,
Yeah.
we will still be calling them. So.
You know, service and then new projects. Okay, so I believe we have a first, right?
Yeah, we have
And
a first and a second.
So, any more discussion? Want to add anything? Anybody
Move forward.
on this? You good? Thanks, Commish. Roll call.
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradisa?
Yes.
The last resolution I have is entering into contract with John G. Clemenshaw, Inc. for the Seneca County Auditor's Office. He is going to do, I believe, appraisal for new construction and the maintenance records for Seneca County.
So
Okay.
moved.
Second, Commissioner Frank.
No discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Franker?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradisa?
Yes.
That's all I have, gentlemen.
You sure?
Yeah.
I believe.
Good job.
Okay, public comment, anyone like to say anything? See two people in the audience. Tom? Yes, sir. Mr. Bridewell.
This was a fantastic meeting today.
Thank you.
Good.
I can't get over what I heard today. I wish I could comprehend all of it. Hang on to it, but I can't. I know that.
Can you see me okay?
No.
Not
We
yet?
can send you a
I
recording of
don't
the
have my
meeting.
new glasses. You're a blur, sort of.
Oh, so you're still not quite there.
Yeah,
Cataract surgery.
It's gonna be a couple weeks yet, several weeks.
Okay.
So I get a shot in my eye tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm looking
gosh.
forward to that too. And the other comment I
Thank
have
you.
to make is what your comment you made about the landfill. Great stuff, great. Glad you did that. We need that. Because that's gonna turn in the dead area of the county in 50, 100 years. That will
Well,
do
we're not-
nothing
we're
but
not-
cost
We're
money.
not finished with the fight, so, but thank you.
Can't imagine what that's gonna cost
Yeah.
as time goes on. Thank you.
We're a
Keep up the
we're a
good work.
united front on that issue.
Anybody else? That's good? Okay, next week,
You should try to get the mic.
Yep.
that's our next meeting?
Yep.
Next
Come on.
Thursday?
Just a heads up, I won't be here
That's when you,
because I
you
can't
make,
make.
you'll make, okay. All right, so we'll keep the agenda light and, meeting adjourned.